This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning. I'm going to call to order the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing for August 6th. It is by Verizon's time 10 a.m. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the Special Magistrate for this morning's hearing. First thing I'm going to do is swear anybody in who's here to testify on any items that are on the agenda today. So if you're here for a code enforcement matter, you're going to be speaking on the item. If you could all stand and raise your right hand, stand if you're able. Are you speaking, sir?
No.
Okay, very good. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. And if anybody else comes in, I'll swear them in as we proceed. A bit about process. It looks like, I believe all of these are violation hearings this morning. First thing that's going to happen is the town is going to present its evidence, any witnesses the town intends to call. They're going to either be seated over here to my left or at the podium in front of me. Once the town is finished with its case, you will then get an opportunity to come to the podium that's in front of me, present any witnesses you have, any documents you have, cross-examine any witnesses that the town puts on. At the end of the dialogue, I'll make a final ruling and you'll get an order that reflects that ruling, typically in the mail after the hearing. Remember that all of your testimony is given under oath this morning, so just keep that in mind as you testify. First thing on the agenda is adoption of the July 2nd, 2024 meeting. I skip over that at every hearing, but today I'm going to do it first. I did review those in advance of the hearing, and those are fine as drafted, so I'll adopt them as drafted. With that, I'll turn it to the town to call its first case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Christy Gunn on behalf of the town of Ocean Ridge. The first case on today's agenda is case number 2024-010. The respondent is the Ocean Ridge Yacht Club, HOA Inc. Property address is 5600 North Ocean Boulevard. We have the town clerk, Kelly Avery, and our zoning official and community standards officer, Manny Palacio, to discuss this case. Perhaps Ms. Avery, if you want to start with a little bit of background on how this case evolved.
All right, we received a complaint about the condition of the docks at the yacht club. I did take that complaint, send it over to our code enforcement, have them go check it out, as well as our building official. And they did confirm that the docks were in disrepair, a lot of cosmetic issues, and basic maintenance. But there were some safety issues. Pilings looked pretty bad, and some of the docks were missing planks, not planks, but sections of the dock weren't connected to pilings. And these are from the pictures that I saw, and Manny could probably tell you more. So I did issue a notice of violation, sent it out, certified, and delivered it as well. They contacted me the very next day on how to get that taken care of. I explained to them, if they want to go ahead and get the cosmetic stuff done, get a building permit for anything larger that needs to come in. If they get that in, I told them that compliance would be, for right now, would be to get that in by the day of the permit application. And I heard from them, but we never received a permit for any of the work that was being done. They did contact me and explain that they had done some of the cosmetic stuff. I told them that right before the commission, or the hearing today, that I would have our code enforcement go out to confirm any of that. And which we did today. We went out this morning, and I can let him speak, but he did come back and explain that there's actually work going on over there that should be permitted work. I've got pictures if you need me to show them to you.
Okay, and they're in the case file that's on?
They're not in here. I just received them and just added them to my files, but I can pull them up here real fast.
Okay. So the pictures that are in my case file that's on the screen, that's the original case file?
Correct.
Oh, excuse me, the original photographs?
Yes, so this
Okay.
was today. That's not our property. That's not the yacht club. No.
The townhomes.
Okay, then I don't know if I should go further. I was like, because I have not received any permit for the work to be done.
That's the one I went to initially.
the yacht club.
Yeah, that's what, that's where the original pictures, this is the follow-up from today.
Mr. Palacios, maybe we'll have you come up and testify at the mic.
Do you want to have him sit over at that chair? Just,
Yeah, if you want to, Mr. Palacio, come over and sit at this mic, that way the respondent can perhaps come up to that mic. I'm sorry?
In my meeting with him.
Oh, no, just come up to the mic so you can testify to the magistrate.
Oh,
The
okay.
photographs to the pictures.
Green Glass shows building department. The photographs that have been submitted are photographs that I took initially, and then the latter photos are the ones that I just took about an hour ago. And there are people working there at this time. Now, I heard the remark, that's not the yacht club.
That is not the yacht club.
so let's, so the record is clear. Can you scroll on the case file that I have here to the original photographs? Mr. Palacios, I just want to make sure that these are photos you took.
Oh, okay. Your Honor, I made a complete mistake. Yes, that is the yacht club.
So these, and just so, before you continue, these are
Yeah,
the
this-
original
yes.
photographs, correct?
The photographs that have been submitted just now are from the property by the tennis club. The name escapes me right now, but that is the yacht club right now. The photographs that are being shown. And at this time, I can't say what the status is, since I didn't go there this morning. I went to the wrong place.
Okay. Did you go there after July 1st?
I've been there twice, and that posting there is to one of the residents that submitted the complaint. Just kind of a courtesy notice, letting them know that the town is taking action against the docks and pilings that are out there.
Okay. And explain to me what you saw in those original set of photos. Explain to me what I'm looking at. One of them is pretty clear, but explain to me what, so that one's pretty clear, right?
Yes, as you can see, the pilings are all, just corroded, and have just, I don't know how some of them are still standing. They're inches in thickness only, so high grade of deterioration, and it is somewhat of a hazard.
Okay. Okay, I'm just looking through the rest of the photos here before I have the respondent come up. So the brown portion of, just so I understand, the brown portion of the dock is okay,
Well,
right? The painted portion is,
You've got pilings there that the docks, that supports the docks. As you can see, there's quite a few of them that just need complete replacement. There's some of the surface of some of the docks, some of the planks need replacing.
so some of the horizontal slabs
Yes,
of the dock
yes.
also need replacing, okay. Okay. Okay, anything further?
Not for me, Your Honor.
Okay, does the town have any additional witnesses on this case?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Who's here from, could you come to the podium? And give me your names, please.
Good morning. My name is Jill Gallo. I'm the property manager for Ocean Ridge Yacht Club.
Your last name, just so I get it right in the order.
Gallo.
G-A-L-L-O-W? Just so.
Yeah, no W.
Okay. And your name, ma'am?
I'm Tricia Schmidt. I work with Jill as well. I'm the Director of Operations.
Okay. Okay, so you've heard what the town has said. You've seen the photographs on the screen. I guess before we get into the actual merits of the case, let me just ask you, Ms. Avery, can you scroll through the documents on the screen? So that's what's appearing on the screen before you is the case file that the town would like to enter into the record. Do you have any objection to those documents?
No, I do not, Your Honor. And yes, we did receive the notification of the violation.
Okay.
I'm not an on-site manager,
Okay.
so I was not aware of that until It went through the weekends. It was a good solid almost 7 days, and we were given 2 weeks.
Okay,
But yes, and we were aware of the one dock that does need to be removed.
the one that where the columns are
Yes.
severely.
Yeah, the piles and
Yeah.
everything. That being said, we immediately took action. I do here have a application that we are attempting to receive, but we needed a survey.
Okay,
I did not have a, permit for the survey. That we've been working on. I have to get proposals. I have a board that needs approval. So I had called and asked for an extension so I could, compile all this, but unfortunately, we were told several times that we needed to wait and come before the magistrate.
okay,
I do have estimates already for the demo work for that pier or dock, and at the same time, the work of everything we know that we need to do to get up to code.
okay. What's the scope of that work? So to take down the one
The
dock that's in
one dock
disrepair?
that you do have
Okay.
photos of will be removed,
Okay,
which will also include the piles. And then we do have a couple other, 2 braces on 2 other docks and another pile. But our issue right now is that we're having a hard time trying to find out exactly what the code compliance will be of everything that we need. I've had 2 vendors out, and they, were like, we're not sure exactly what code compliance is for here. I called Kelly several times. I asked to meet with the inspector even, so maybe they could help guide us into what is code compliant. Because the board is willing to do anything and everything we need to get this work done. Clearly, there's permits and the survey, the permits, and they're telling us, with the Army Corps and so forth, that it's a year process from beginning to end. So I diligently, myself, Tricia, our admin and board president, acted immediately on trying to start the process of this.
how many docks do you have in total?
8, and then we have an annex section off to the side, which is it's new, it has no issues or anything like that, which is like, yes.
Okay, I got one photo here that looks like there's a row of all the same,
Yes,
same,
then those are the ones in question.
okay. Okay,
We immediately painted also, like cosmetically, there were some of the few things that could be done easily.
you did that
We
already?
did that already,
Okay.
right? And I thought that he had gone back in July to see that.
Just for record.
Oh.
Yeah, just get closer, sorry about that.
I was just mentioning that we did paint, actually prior to that, the July, thinking that they were going to go back in July to look at the conditions. So we did paint, because that was something we could do easily without a permit.
Okay. Don't go anywhere, let me ask the town, what's the town seeking in terms of remedy today?
Your Honor, knowing that they are gonna have to go through a permit process, one of the reasons we wanted to bring it forward today was so that we could sort of work with them to set a deadline, so that we have a reasonable deadline. I would think they're gonna need at least 90 days, to go through the permit process, and get what else they need, maybe from the Army Corps. And then we'd ask for a fine of $100 per day thereafter. The town's costs are $173.47, so we'd also ask that those be imposed.
Okay. And I guess, so you probably need, my limited understanding of dock repair and replacement is you certainly need Army Corps' permit to replace the dock. Do you have to get a demolition permit from them to take the one down?
I was told we did not have to.
Okay. Okay.
Well, Tricia's asking if we need a town permit. I was not told that we need a town permit.
Do they need a demolition permit to take the dock down?
We do need one.
Okay.
Demo permit.
That's pretty quick turnaround though, right? That's within a couple of days or a week to get that?
And they said, both contractors told me within a day they could have it removed for us.
Okay.
And it's a quick process.
Okay. I'm certainly willing to give you enough time. It sounds like you've compiled quite a bit of information just since June 14th when you got the notice. So you're trending in a good direction. I don't know who to ask this to. I guess Mr. Palacios, maybe, how many docks, aside from the one that they're taking down, how many, if that one is coming down, what's the scope of repair on the remaining docks? Is it just one more dock?
Well, I was going to insist at the permitting, before the permitting process, or at the submittal of the permitting application, that they would get a structural or a dock engineer, and to assess the condition of all of the docks. I mean, it's just not one dock. I mean, this thing just didn't happen last year or before. This has been ongoing for some time, should have been addressed long before it even got to this point. But a structural engineer on the docks, pilings and so forth would be required.
Yeah, we were never
We could have
informed.
already done
And all
that.
the phone calls of us trying to figure out the process, we were never told.
Well, here's, Your Honor, we're not here to babysit conditions of docks, houses and stuff. You know, you as a person should know, my house needs repair, this dock, I go out there every day and I see the condition of the dock. The pilings were deteriorated long before this. This should have been addressed long ago. The excuse that, well, we're never told, I can't accept that.
So I appreciate that, Mr. Palacios, but I also am sympathetic to the fact that they need to understand what constitutes compliance from the town. So
The removal, well, right off the bat, removal of the docks would put them in compliance.
All the dogs?
Well, those that are in need, again, their engineer's report stating this dock is fine, that dock is okay, this dock needs that, that's what we want. The town's not going to go, or the building department's not gonna go out there and say, well, you need that. That's for them to tell us, we're gonna replace this and that, and then we can concur yes or no, that you not only that, you need other ones, but an engineer's report would be the most accurate, since they are the specialists in this.
all right. Let me ask, let me ask the respondent, Ms. Gallo, what kind of contractor do you have that you've been talking to?
I have Seaside Marine,
Okay.
Seaside Marine Construction, and Dock Masters so far.
Okay, so you have dock construction companies?
Yes.
That you're working with, okay. Okay. And I guess let me ask the town attorney, given that additional testimony, is there any flexibility on the time for compliance? My initial thought is that the 90 days is not gonna be sufficient to get all of that done.
Well, if they're gonna remove the docks that, are in a real hazardous condition, then all they need is a demo permit from the town, so that's pretty quick. If they're gonna repair the docks, then that is a longer process. So I think one thing that we don't know at this point is whether or not, they're just gonna need to remove one dock, or if more docks are gonna need to be removed or replaced.
Right, that's the one thing we're in question as well, when we're trying to figure out what the code compliant is for us, of what we need to take care of first.
Right.
Clearly, they, you know.
And I think that's what Mr. Palacio is trying to explain, is that we don't go to the extent of tell you, you know, that dock is unsafe. I mean, we can all see from the one photo that the one dock clearly has an issue, but whether the other docks that were probably constructed around the same time have some type of deficiency that we're gonna see sooner than later, we don't really go to that extent. We can see cosmetic issues, and if we go out and it looks like the cosmetic issues have been corrected and this one dock has been removed, that's great. But the bigger concern that I think Mr. Palacios is talking about is, are you guys sure your other docks aren't gonna go back to that condition, you know, shortly hereafter? So, you know, and I think a structural engineer would be great. I think also you could probably have see if the dock contractors you're talking to, if they've got someone in-house that could do a report on all the docks to make sure that they're not gonna see the deterioration that the one is.
Okay, so once I receive that information, do I come back here, or do I just move forward with the construction and he'll come back out and follow up, or?
I think if we set it for a 90-day time frame initially and see what you come back with, and if it turns out that you guys need to replace docks, obviously gonna take a longer time to get it in full compliance, then I think the town would be open to granting, you know, more time and coming back to the magistrate to ask for more time to extend before any fines accrue.
Okay.
That's fair, thank you.
Thank you.
if your contractor is wondering like what to come into compliance with, we don't have a lot in the town code on docks, but if you do a combination of the dock, or the town code and Florida building code, it's pretty much what we adopted. So if they just go by the compliance issues of the Florida building code, I think they should be fine.
Okay.
That's basically what we go off of.
Okay.
So.
Required?
Will it be required? Are you now asking that we get a dock engineer as a requirement?
I'm looking at the code. I mean, what they're gonna need, it's not so much that I can necessarily prescribe who you contract with, but they're gonna need assured that they being the town, before they give you a permit to do an installation, they're gonna need some kind of report that
Sure.
demonstrates that they can be repaired, is what I think the town is saying. So, as long as that's somebody that's, I would assume you're a dock contractor, they're a general contractor, right?
Yes. Well, he specializes, it's just marine.
Right.
He's NGC.
Do you have any paperwork with you? Is he an engineer?
I have, he's not an engineer.
He's not an engineer.
But he's licensed and insured. Yeah, do you want, I have his estimate, I don't have his credentials.
Yeah, let me see that. Thank you. Marine construction.
That's why I was saying the consultant's kind of the same thing.
All right, it doesn't say, thank you.
Your Honor, I guess what we could do is they could see what they can get from their contractor and bring that in and have Mr. Palacios and our building official look at it and see if it's sufficient to move forward with what their current plan is. And if they're gonna require further structural analysis, we can go from there.
Yeah, that's sort of where my mind was going, was to kind of split up the order, that you have to provide a report or documentation sufficient to the town to issue you a permit within so many days, and then I'll give you additional time to actually have the work done, because that is a larger process, and I understand that that's not quick. So in terms of how fast do you think you can get something from either your contractor that you have or from an engineer saying the scope of the repairs that have to be done and that they can or cannot be repaired?
I'm having the survey done, she said it's gonna be scheduled for next week first, so I just assumed first to get the survey. But I can get an engineer out probably within a week or so.
Okay, so I'll give you 45 days to get something to the town. That seems like
Right, yeah, and
plenty of
everything's
time.
wrapped up right now with weather and so forth.
Right, and there's once you get them scheduled, it's a little bit of a time to do that. And then I'm gonna give you a little bit more time to actually construct the repairs. But I would say keep in contact with the town. The
course.
best thing you can do is keep them informed of what you're doing and where you are in the process.
With Kelly?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And with Mr. Palacios as well, and if you have questions about compliance, but I think probably the most prudent step for you is to have the experts go out there and evaluate your docks. Because what you don't want to do, I wouldn't think from your seat, is you wouldn't want to have a piecemeal kind of repair job done, right? You don't want to fix one dock and then have a problem with another dock, so you might as well have them do a comprehensive evaluation of what you have and what they can do to fix it. Because hopefully some of it can be repaired rather than replaced, but I'm certainly not an expert there. That's above my pay grade. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do, like I said, I'll give you the 45 days to get either a marine engineer or someone who is qualified in the area to give you an evaluation of the condition of your docks and what the rehabilitation looks like. Get that to the town, and then they'll let you know if they can permit. Because the issue, like I said before, is that they're not gonna the town is not gonna issue a building permit without some demonstration that what's remaining or what is proposed to remain can be rehabilitated to a point that they can permit it. So it benefits you to get that done on the front end so that then you can hopefully get through the permit process more smoothly. And then I'll give you additional time to actually have the work done, because that will be a little bit of a process, especially if you replace docks. Anything else you'd like me to hear this morning? Okay, anything further from the town?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. So in case 2024-010, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1. without objection. I'll find based on the testimony of town staff, as well as the photographs in the case file that I've just entered, that the respondent's in violation of sections 6481, 67174A1, and 67174A2. I'll require respondents to submit to the town either an engineer's report or some other marine contractor report demonstrating the required repairs for approval by the town, specifically the building department, within the 45 days. So get that to them sooner rather than later. They'll communicate with you if that's sufficient. If you get it from your marine contractor first and they say this isn't going to work, then get an engineer. You may want to just start with the engineer. That's probably because you're going to need them anyways to replace docks.
Right, okay. I'm sorry, I do have one question. That's just about the correspondence. I did see that there was a return receipt for the paperwork, but I don't know where any of the paperwork's being sent.
Pull that up.
We use what Papa.
I'm sorry?
We use what's on Papa.
Oh, okay.
So they're required by law, the town is required by law to send you legal documents to the address that's on file with the property appraiser.
1800 North Congress.
Show that we, yeah, that's,
I never got the green card back.
yeah, we
Right.
never got it, okay. We saw the posting on the guardhouse.
And that's why they posted it, because they
Yeah.
didn't get the green card. So the law requires them to either get the signed green card back or to post it 10 days before the hearing. So they did the posting to make sure that they had legal service for today, but
Are you guys no longer at 1800?
Well, we still get mail there, but we are not operating at that office.
Okay,
So-
so you probably want to contact property appraiser and change it to the office at Yacht Club.
We'll do.
all right, so I'll require you to provide that documentation, that written documentation to the town within 45 days. I'm gonna require full compliance, which means having permits issued and the dock fully restored and repaired or replaced, whatever you're required to do to get into compliance. I'm gonna give you 120 days to do that. That should give you enough time if you have to do anything with the Army Corps or the DEP. And I'll specify, I guess, I'll just have the order reflect the number of days. So it'll be based on the date of the order. So I'll date the orders today. I'll prepare them when I get back to the office. They'll be dated today. So you have 45 days from today to submit the engineer's report or the marine contractor's report. Then you have 120 days to fully comply, which means remove the dock that has to be removed, replace whatever you need to replace, paint whatever you need to to paint.
I was told by both contractors on different meetings that the Army Corps and also the DEP could take up to 8 months to 12 at this point right now, that they're really backed
Oh,
up.
we deal with that, yeah.
Your Honor, the town's open to working with them. If they've got to go through all of that permit process, we're open to working with them. And if you want to put in the order to come back for more time, if they're showing good faith efforts towards moving forward, that are being held up by, other agency permit process, we're happy to work with them. We just need to make sure that it's moving forward.
All right, so I'll maintain the 120 days for full compliance, but I'll have language in the order that specifies that if you demonstrate that you're making good faith effort and that additional permits from either the state or the federal government are required and that's causing you delay, that you can submit a written request to the town, which they'll bring back to me to give you additional time in the event that happens. If it does come to that, make sure you bring back to me at that hearing emails, letters, whatever you've sent out to demonstrate to me that you have made. Not that I'm saying that you won't, but just
Yeah.
bring the proof, as they say, right?
Yeah.
So bring the emails to me at that time so that I can see what you've done. And then the only other thing that will be reflected in the order, because I have found you in violation, the town's entitled to its administrative costs for today's hearing. So there's a cost recovery sheet that's in the file. They're asking me to assess $173.47. Those are typically paid within 30 days. So it's just a cost to get you to this process in terms of certified mailings and time. So the order will reflect that as well. Hopefully, with all due respect, I don't see you again. I do wish you the best. That's a little bit of a process you have to go through, but it sounds like if you continue to do what you've already done, you'll get there before the timeline, okay?
Thank you. I
Best of luck.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next case.
Your Honor, the next case on today's agenda is this case number 2024-011. The property owner is Lanier Allocation 4 LLC. The property address at issue is 15 Harbor Drive North. In the backup for today's agenda are the town's proof of service, the property appraiser's information, and photographs of the violation. This case involves a failure to maintain the seawall. I believe we have, again, the town clerk, Kelly Avery, and Manny Palacio on this case.
And Ms. Avery, before you begin, let me just have the record reflected in case 2024-010. I did find good service based on the posting affidavit that's in the case file. Go ahead.
Okay. We received a complaint from a neighbor to one of our officials that they were having issues with the seawall, water coming in. So our building official, our town manager, and did you go with them?
No.
In the boat, okay. I don't know who else went, but they all went, and they weren't able to see it from the land side, so they had to take a boat on the water side to go see this, to do inspection. And excuse me, they did notice that there were cracks in the seawall, and so they have asked for compliance of repair of the seawall. We did send out a notice of violation, and we did, as of yesterday, a permit application was submitted. But it has not been approved yet, but it has been submitted.
Anything further? Mr. Palacios, anything on this one?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Is the respondent present? Okay, can you come to the podium for me, ma'am?
Your Honor, and for the record, we did receive this. It's a notice from the property owner for their agent to appear.
Is that in the case file?
No, we just received it today.
Okay, thank you. All right, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Your name?
Eileen Gonzalez.
You are listed on that letter. Okay. And I guess we'll just call you a representative then?
I work with Seaside Marine Construction, and then I also work with Breezy Permits.
Okay, let's start with the paperwork. If I could ask Miss Avery to scroll through the documents on the screen. The documents that are up there are the documents that the town would like to enter into the record as its case file. The notice documents for today's hearing, the property appraiser information, the code, and photographs. And I'll also add this letter that was received by the town giving you authorization to be here and speak on behalf of the respondent. Any objection to the documents that are on the screen?
No, ma'am, no
Okay. All right, so let's get that part out of the way with that. In case 2024-011, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection, and I'll also enter respondent's exhibit R1, which is the authorization. All right, and it looks like the photographs pretty clearly show some significant cracking. Go ahead and let me know what you'd like me to hear about that.
Well, okay, so the crack, we're filling it with cement. The reason it has taken a while for us to respond to the violation is because the homeowner is currently in Europe. And it took us a while, well, 1, for him to let us know, and then 2, for us to get a survey with the rate seal for submittal. So once we did get everything, we did go ahead and submit right away, but that's just kind of what was going on and why it took a little long. It kind of takes him a little while to respond every single time I send him correspondence.
Okay.
But once we do get the permit approved, which I believe we have everything in the system for approval, it should take Seaside about a day or 2 to finish the work. It should be a pretty quick process.
Okay. What's the town seeking in terms of remedy?
Your Honor, based on the time frame, I don't know how long it'll take to get the permit finalized.
if everything's there, I wouldn't say any more than a week and a half.
So I think, Your Honor, assuming that, then we would just ask for 30 days. And if not, $100 a day. It doesn't sound like this is a significant structural issue, is it?
It's very, very minor. It's going to be filled with hydraulic cement, and then that should fix the entire issue. If there's nothing really structural, it's just a minor crack. It's not ruining any of the panels or anything in terms of the function of the seawall.
Okay.
And I guess all of that evaluation is done by the town's building official before
Yes.
issuing the permit?
Here.
Mr. Palacios, why don't I ask you to sit over here at this chair here so that you're always on the microphone? Thank you, sir. We'll call that the hot seat for you today.
As to her statement about that, it's just a minor crack and stuff, we don't know that, we're not the experts, I'm 100% positive that the building official would definitely require a structural engineer's report that this thing is just a crack and that does not require anything further.
Okay. Do you have such staff?
Well, yeah, we have an engineer that could write us a letter for anything. Would you want a letter for before the work is completed, or would you want a letter after?
No, I would presume the town wants that as part of your application submittal. So I would presume that they're gonna require that before they issue you the permit.
Okay,
So-
so just a letter saying that the cement will be sufficient for the,
It's whatever your engineer's opinion is of the
Okay.
crack, whether it's a substantial crack or substantive crack, or whether it's just a cosmetic thing that can be filled by concrete. His professional opinion about what the status of the crack and what the required repair is. I think that's what the letter should say. Anything else that you think?
Yes,
No?
ma'am.
Okay. Okay. How quickly can you get that letter? Pretty quickly?
I'm gonna ask him for it today, probably within a week.
Okay, so that's, you can get that certainly within the 30 days,
Yes.
get the work done still within the 30 days. Okay. Okay, and then are there administrative costs? I presume there are.
Yes, Your Honor, they're $172.73.
All right, anything else you'd like me to hear, ma'am?
No,
Okay, anything further from the town?
no, Your Honor.
All right, in case 2024-011, I've entered the required exhibits. I'll find based on the posting affidavit that the town had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs and the testimony of both the town as well as the respondent's representative that the respondent's in violation of section 64-81 and 67-174A1. I'll require respondents to comply with those sections within 30 days, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day thereafter. And as you heard me tell the previous respondent, because I have found you in violation, the town's entitled to its administrative costs. So those are in the amount of $172.73, payable within 30 days. I would recommend that you get the engineer's report as quickly as you can. It sounds to me like the town has indicated that they have an application in. Get that additional documentation in so that that can be processed with the application. Okay?
Well done.
Best of luck to you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, next one.
Your Honor, the next case is case number 2024-012. Property owner is Ian Goldbaum. Property address is 6 Sable Island Drive, and we have the town clerk, Kelly Avery, to testify on this one, and I don't know, Mr. Palacio was involved in this one.
Kelly, can you just refresh my memory on that?
Yes. We received a complaint from the neighbor that, this fence was on his property. We told him that that was a civil issue, but we did notice that the, fence, that portion of the fence was unpermitted. So, we did issue a notice of violation. Fence has been there for many years. I want to say it's been over 10 years.
So just so I'm clear, there's a couple of fences in one of these photos. Are we talking about the white vinyl fence?
Let's see here. It is this white fence right here.
Okay.
This was provided by the neighbor. We did notice that this portion of the fence on the east side was unpermitted. He did have one many years ago from the west side of the home.
On the other side, not what's in the photo, on the other side of the house, okay.
But not on this east side. So we did issue him a notice of violation, asked him to come in compliance by submitting a building application.
Okay,
We have yet to receive that. He did attempt to bring one in, but we told him that unfortunately, we have to treat it as any other building permit, even though it's been there for many years. I needed health department approval, and I have yet to have that come in as of today. So that's where that stands.
but you have a permit application in?
No.
No, you have nothing in, okay. All right, who's here on behalf of this case? Anyone? All right, for the record, the respondent is not present. Have you spoken with the respondent?
It's been a couple weeks.
Okay, but he was aware of the, okay, or he or she? Okay. What's the town seeking in terms of remedy?
Your Honor, we would ask for 30 days. And $50 a day, since it's just a fence issue, it's not a,
And compliance is issuance of the permit, correct?
correct.
Okay. And I presume you have some administrative fees?
Yes, Your Honor, it's $172.97.
There it is, okay. All right, anything further from the town in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case 2024-012, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the affidavit of posting that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of town staff as well as the evidentiary case file that the respondent's in violation of section 6751 and Florida Building Code section 105.1 for the white vinyl fence that is installed without the required permits. I'll require respondent to comply by obtaining a building permit within 30 days or assess a fine of $50 per day for each day that the violation continues. And I'll award the town its administrative costs in the amount of $172.97 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's the next one.
Your Honor, the next case is case 2024-13. The respondent in this case is Donald H. Tracy. The nature of this violation is a construction site parking third offense. This case is proceeding under the town's alternative citation process, which runs similar to our regular community standards process, but if there's a violation of the code, we issue a citation, and the citation requires the property or the person, the respondent, to bring the violation into compliance and to pay a fine. And in this case, this was the third offense for the construction site parking violation. So the citation amount was cited for $250. And the town has incurred costs of $164. And we have our police department here to testify as to this matter.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay. All right, good morning, sir. Your name?
Good morning, I'm Officer Zigalakis.
Yeah, push it, yeah.
Oh, he's ready. There you go. Officer Sigalakis.
Spell that for me.
Sigelakis.
What's your first name?
Michael.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So what we're talking about here today is on June 26th, at approximately 8:25, we were dispatched to 17 Ocean Avenue. And it was called in by the homeowner there, I believe, saying
Okay.
that there was vehicles parked on her property that don't belong there. And the vehicles were part of the construction crew for what's going on at 60 Ocean Avenue, which Mr. Tracy over here is in charge of. So we went over there to speak with him. We issued him a citation on that day for, violation of town code for parking. And apparently, again, I'm relatively new to this department, but checking the cab, I think we were out with him, I think it was a total of 8 times. They've been out with him before, so we issued him a citation for the 3rd plus offense for parking.
Okay. And is that photograph that's on the screen, is that pertaining to this case or is that a separate?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Are there any other photos? Because I don't.
So that's what you're looking at there is 17. That's where you can see the 2 vehicles that are parked there. That's why we got called in.
So those vehicles are for a property across the street or next door?
Yeah, so that's
supposed to be?
17. The construction is going on at 60
Uh-huh.
Ocean Avenue, and this is at 17. So the homeowner at 17 Ocean called in saying they're parking on our property illegally. So that's why we issued the citation. And if you look in the other photo, you can actually see there's an additional van behind me.
Parked on the street.
Yeah, there's another one parked over there.
And where is 60 in relation to this?
Across the street.
Just right across
Yeah,
the street?
on the north side.
Okay. Okay. And so they haven't paid the fine, is that correct? The citation amount?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, so the town is asking for the, I guess, affirmation of the civil fine amount that was issued plus your administrative costs for today's hearing?
That is correct.
And does that get, I guess who does that get recorded against?
It would be just a personal lien because
Okay.
it's not against any real property. So if it were to become a lien.
All right, and the respondent's name on there would be the Mr. Tracy? No, is that the property owner?
No.
Oh, okay, I see, violator. So he's the violator. Okay, okay, so that's what you want okay. Okay. And both of those trucks were his trucks?
They're not his trucks. They are, I guess, subcontractors who are working
For him.
Yeah.
Okay, anything further from the town?
I don't think so.
I can I was his training officer at the time when he started.
Just give me your name, sir, go ahead.
Jimmy Pylon, last name Pilon.
And you're an officer as well?
I am.
Okay.
So, like you said, we responded on that date. This is one of numerous times that we responded where he's been warned about the parking violation. He misunderstands his role as a contractor. So he's not really one to accept responsibility. He's responsible for all the vehicles associated with that, all the subcontractors and that as well. So on this day, there were some people parked at a different residence. It turns out later we found out that the homeowners, one party of the homeowners allowed them to park there. However, there were still more vehicles parked illegally in front of the construction site as well. So which is why we issued the citation. Like I said, this is one of many times that this has went on. So that's pretty much it.
Has he paid the previous citation amounts?
He did.
He did. So eventually he comes around, okay. Yeah, I would, not I would expect, but the van on the street makes sense, but having the nerve to pull into someone's driveway that you're not working
So,
in.
and again, that's
That's a whole
on
nother
it. We didn't know that at the time of that day. We were notified a day or two later that the male half of the homeowners granted him permission to park there. We were called by the other half of the homeowners who said that actually one of the vehicles you see is their lawn service who couldn't get into the driveway, which is, I
Because the
think, what brought
contractor's
yeah.
truck, okay, so the van is really, the contractor van is really the
Yeah, but again, even that, there was still, at the construction site, there were still parking violations as well. So even if we're not talking about the private residence anymore, we're still talking
the
about.
van on the street, yeah, I got you.
In Your Honor, I believe the town clerk did also have a conversation about getting authorization from neighbors, and that the town would need that authorization before they start parking on someone else's property.
Okay,
So the town did not receive any kind of correspondence, and Ms. Avery can testify to that.
I did not receive anything until after the fact.
after, okay. Okay, anything further?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And just so the record is clear, nobody is here for this case, correct?
Yes.
You are here for this case, very good. Come to the podium, please, sir. Your name is?
Donald Tracy.
All right. So you've heard everything that's been said, go ahead and explain to me what's going on.
Okay, so I did receive an initial parking citation for unlawfully parking on the DOT right away. It was $30. I had no problem with that. I paid it and then discontinued parking anywhere unlawfully and continue to watch the job site to make sure any other subcontractors do not park anywhere unlawfully.
Okay,
I did have permission to park at 17 East Ocean Avenue from the girl that owns the property, Heidi Hold'em. She did give me permission to park there. I did tell the officers that I didn't have anything in writing at the time, so I had nothing to verify what I was telling them. And so this was my second offense. This is not the third offense of Valiant. This is the second offense. They claim they've been there and told me 8 different times, which is not the case. Once I got one violation, everything else was in compliance. So, and then they're violating me, which I'm an employee of Marmat Homes, which I don't understand how I can be liable for subcontractors parking unlawfully, where they've all been given written notice and verbal notice, everyone on the job, as to where they can and cannot park. But I don't see how I'm not the contractor of record, I'm just an employee. So I feel like I'm being singled out and targeted for these violations. I have no problem with the town giving as many violations as necessary to any of the subcontractors that are not in compliance, because they all do know. And yeah, there was one van on that property that one day. It was Razorback Electric. The other was the lawn maintenance, which he had plenty of room to get in there. There was no obstruction there. And the other van that they're talking about in question is from across the street, because there's a construction site going on there as well. So that van was working on that site. So we're kind of being targeted for all of the issues around. But I do have written permission that I had from the homeowner that I did have permission to park on her driveway that day. And I just saw the $250. The violation was pretty excessive since it was only my second violation.
okay. Do you have that written permission with you?
I do.
Go ahead and show it to the town attorney first, please. Any objection to that? Yeah. Thank you. And let me ask Ms. Avery, who was the complaint received from?
I did not get the initial complaint, the little police officers did.
Yeah, I believe it was the female half of the homeowner at 17 Ocean Avenue.
No, it could not have been.
The-
She's the one that's giving me.
Then it might have done was the husband?
No.
The husband, okay, I was one of them.
And Your Honor, I have them actually getting us the documentation of the vast amount of calls that we received there for the parking violation, because I just want to make sure we're clear on that so you can see. I got them printed out, so they're gonna bring it real quick.
Okay. And let me ask while the officers are still there, whose van is in this photo right now?
I mean, you could probably say who's that way. It was somebody at your site who was parking there.
Razorback Electric was on the property of 17 East Ocean.
And that's a subcontractor of you?
Correct.
Okay.
And this van here, I don't recall who it is, but
It's a Razorback van as well.
It is also, okay, and it's parked in front of the construction property.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask the town attorney, I'm looking at the citation here, what's the code say in terms of iterations? This just says 250 per violation, up to 500 for repeat violation. Is there any further breakdown in the code?
I believe, the fine amounts are set by, town resolution, and I believe on the,
I'm trying to drill down into, is there a difference in the monetary amount between the
Yes,
second
there
and the
are,
third
and I will
offense?
find that. Let
Okay,
me just-
perfect, thank you. Just so you know where I'm headed, that's where I'm headed. Okay. And sir, you're the master permit holder, is that right?
No,
No, okay.
Marmet Ellish Builders is the contractor of record. I'm an employee of Ellish Builders.
But Elish is the contractor of record. That's, okay,
Correct,
that's
for 60 East Ocean.
right.
So shouldn't they be getting cited, if anyone?
Well, I guess in this,
I mean, they're the contractor of record. I mean, if I quit my job there today, then who are you gonna cite tomorrow?
Your Honor, I believe, from the town's perspective, we do have a construction handbook that is required, to be signed and lays out this very section in terms of, how construction parking is required to do. I do not believe there's any difference between whether it's the contractor of record or whether it's one of their employees. The entire contractor of record, their entire firm is held liable to the same standard and must be responsible for complying with the construction handbook. And this parking issue is an issue like in many small towns, that parking in the right of way or parking on someone else's property is problematic. And that's why we have a construction handbook for the contractors to go through and review, to make sure that parking with construction sites is remaining in compliance with the town's code. So there's no requirement that we have to cite the contractor of record. We could cite, as you know, just like a regular code enforcement, you could cite the tenant, you can cite the property owner.
Why don't you just cite the person in violation?
I believe that the town has the discretion, based on the way the actual violation is worded, that we can cite who we believe is responsible. And if you're the contractor of record and that's who you represent, you're responsible for that job site.
I'm responsible for the job site, but not for where individuals park.
Pursuant to our handbook, you are.
and I guess, so just, I just want to make clear what the code says here. So your letter indicates, and the homeowner at 17 Ocean also gave you personally permission to park there. So in the future, if you just want her to give your business permission to park there, she can do that, but she gave you by name permission to park there. So she's even giving you personally permission, not just the contractor to that point. But I don't think that even matters. I think what's at issue before me is you have a letter that indicates that you were given permission to park in the driveway. So the van in the driveway, you had permission to do it. There was some kind of miscommunication between the husband and the wife, or the two individuals who live at that house at 17 Ocean. The problem is this picture that's on the screen, which is the van on the street. The town code says during construction, the parking of any vehicle or equipment associated with construction activities or construction personnel on the public right-of-way is prohibited unless approval is obtained from the town building official. So the owner of 17 Ocean can't give you permission to park in the town's right-of-way.
Correct.
The building official has to give you permission to park in the right-of-way. Do you have proof for me this morning that you had permission from the building official?
No, I do not. But the violation was for parking on 17 East Ocean.
Right,
That's what we're addressing today.
right, but it's a couple of different things happening at 17 Ocean, right? That's in front of 17 Ocean, that picture that we're looking at now, correct?
I don't
It's not. That's in
see.
front of 60. That van is parked right in front of his construction site.
Right, and that's the day that you guys showed up there, and they obviously moved it right away after our discussion. They didn't stay there. They moved it. We cleared everything out. We were quite compliant. We took care of it. We didn't hesitate, we didn't argue,
Right,
and we've been compliant since.
Mr. Tracy, have you spoken with the town clerk about where you can and cannot park for the construction site?
It's perfectly clear now. We can only park on our property, or on Heidi's property.
Were you advised that if you're gonna park on private property, that we would have to have permission from the property owner before?
No.
Ms. Avery, did you speak with Mr.?
We spoke regarding FDOT. I said if you're going to park on FDOT's property, you need written permission.
Correct.
We didn't speak necessarily versus any other private property.
Okay.
Because of the issue we had always had with them was they were parking on FDOT's. Which actually, when you had said permission from the building official for where they were parking that white van, building official can't give permission to park there because that is FDOT's right of way.
so that's not a town roadway, that's a
Correct.
DOT roadway.
Yes.
Okay.
They need an MOT in order to do that.
Okay. What, did you find the?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. This is pursuant to the town resolution that was passed with the passage of the citation procedure. The second offense is $100, and then the third offense is $250. And the resolution, just for the record, is uh, 2022-02.
Okay. And I know the officers testified to there being multiple offenses. Does the town have, what do you have there? Is that the old citations?
No, so this is.
Just stand by for me, sir, right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
So this isn't, he's only been issued the 3 citations. Well, I'm sorry, 2 at this point. He's been warned, he's been actually in violation numerous times.
And not
So-
actually cited.
So I only went back until June, and I have at least 9 here.
Okay.
2, one of those of which he was cited on. Various officers, good.
So just so I'm clear, the one that he was cited on, is that the one he spoke about where he was given a $30 citation that he paid?
I believe so, yes. Yes.
Okay, and then the second one is the one that we're talking about
Because-
here today, correct? From
What-
226?
Exactly. So officers were very nice with him and warning him, and eventually it just gets to a point. And dealing with him on a construction site is also not an easy task. He does not like to accept the responsibility. We've explained to him, I know the towns have has had meetings with him. Our goal is ultimately to get compliance, not try to fine people. But when someone just refuses to accept responsibility, and he's identified himself as the foreman of the site, I get he's not the owner of the company, but he is the foreman of the site, and he's accepted responsibility of maintaining, in his own words, the parking.
Mhm.
But when we try to speak to him just to educate him in general, to get compliance, he's very argumentative. He says he's not, but he is. He does not feel he's responsible. He's told me, he's told the chief of police, it's our responsibility. Parking is our problem, not his. He's gonna get the job done. It doesn't matter if we cite him. It's gonna get done no matter what. So at that point, we go to drastic measures. We fine him. That's what we did. That's why we came up with the 250, because it's, at what point you can just warn so much, so.
Well, but I need to understand clearly how many citations have actually been issued.
He's been issued 2, a 31, and then warned multiple times in between.
But this was the second citation.
Yeah, it's the probably 10th offense, but yes.
But the second
Second
actually
citation.
formal citation.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna have you, Mr. Tracy, come back to the microphone. So does the town's recommendation with regard to fine shift, given that testimony?
Yes.
And after I received the first violation, there's been no other violations whatsoever. So there might have been warnings to other subcontractors on the property, that definitely not near 8, but once I was fined the one time, there's never been any non-compliance on the job site.
So what is the photograph of the van in the right of way?
That's from.
That's the violation. That's what we're talking about today.
That's,
That photograph right there.
okay,
So that's a violation of the code, correct?
for DOT, correct.
Okay. So just so I'm only gonna fine you the $100 a day. You clarified with me that this was your second citation, so you're gonna receive the fine for the second citation. But I do want you to understand that this is not going to go away. My sense from the town is that parking is a problem at your job site. So I appreciate your testimony that there haven't been any additional violations. The photographs would contradict that, but make sure going forward, what's done is done. What happened on June 26th happened. So
Right.
that's done. Make sure going forward from today, nobody else parks anywhere other than where they're allowed to park, okay?
As I continue to do.
And to the town's point, if you have permission from the DOT, or in this case from the neighboring property, make sure the town has that before the parking occurs, okay?
They do.
Okay, and from DOT, if you're ever gonna park on the right of way again, the FDOT right of way, make sure that that's provided to the town before the parking occurs. Otherwise, you're gonna be back before me for another violation, and I don't want you to be back before me. I want you to just correct the issue, because I understand this is a small town and parking is a challenge,
There's no
but,
parking.
right, but there's a way to do it in keeping compliance with the town's code.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like me to hear, sir?
No.
Okay, anything further from the town?
No, you're fine.
All right, in case 2024-013, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file, given the testimony of, and I'll also issue or include in that case file what I'll mark as R1, which is the written authorization for Mr. Tracy and LH Builders to park in the driveway of 17 Ocean Avenue. I'll enter that as Exhibit R1 without objection. I'll enter the town's other case file, which includes the citation and citations, documents, and the cost recovery sheet. I'll find, based on the testimony of the officers as well as the testimony of respondent, that the respondent's in violation of section 67-1D and that this is a second offense. So I'll assess a fine of $100 for that second offense pursuant to resolution 2022-02. I'll also award the town its administrative costs in the amount of $164, which are payable within 30 days. Thank you.
You do.
Next case.
Case on today's agenda is case 2024-015. The property owner is CPI Real Estate, Inc. The property address at issue is 5019 Ocean Boulevard, and this involves working without a permit. I believe Mr. Placio is here to testify on behalf of that case.
We received the complaint, and the town clerk requested that I go out there and take a look at what was going on. I found that there was concrete block wall that had been built. And that was without a permit. I took these photographs at that time. And as of today, that violation still exists.
And can somebody testify with regard to the notice documentation?
We sent the notice, I received because this actually came in as a complaint to the PD. PD went out and told them they needed to stop them working. They needed to come in and get a building permit. We waited a little while before we did anything. We did finally, after so long, gave him a notice of violation because he never came in. We issued that on July 12th. We certified, mailed it, and posted it. And as of today, they have submitted a building permit. It was approved on July 30th. They have yet to pick it up or pay their penalty fee.
So the permit's been applied for and issued by the town, but it hasn't been paid for?
Completely, yes. It still has a penalty fee to be paid, and they have to actually pick up the permit.
Excuse me, I'm the him.
Okay, very good, ma'am. Come to the podium for me.
Good morning. My name is Donna Horrigan. I do have,
Hold on, before you go forward, what's your relation to CPI Real Estate Inc.?
I own CPI.
You're the owner, very good. And spell your last name just so I get it right.
HORRIGAN.
Thank you. Okay, go
I
ahead.
do have the permit. I have paid the fine of $500. I do have an engineer signing off on this wall to be structurally sound.
Okay,
This was attached to the request for the building permit from W Construction.
okay. So I guess,
How long, ma'am, do you know how long it's gonna take to finish the wall?
It's complete except for the stucco.
Oh.
When they issued the stop work order, we stopped.
Okay. So, and would you be able to finish the wall in 30 days?
Weather permitting. I already have it contracted. It's just 1 day of stucco.
Okay.
I guess let me have you show the town attorney the document that you have that verifies that you've paid for the permit.
Oh, I think probably just show it to
Show Miss Avery, I'm
because
sorry.
She's a lot more
Yes,
familiar
it
with
is.
the building
Thank
permit
you.
stuff than I am.
So that confirms that she's paid. So technically then was there a date on that?
No, because what usually happens is we don't release that card until we receive whatever we're waiting for. We usually have a sheet of paper that reminds us at the front, we need to still pick this up, or receive it before we can give it to them. So if she has this, that means she paid it, so whatever was.
Oh, so she wouldn't have that in her possession if she hadn't paid it. Okay, very good. Okay. So
Your Honor, technically they're in compliance, because normally we just require the building permit because then the permit. sort of
she has 180 days to do
course.
the work,
So
right?
we won't be seeking any fines, we'll just be seeking the town's costs, which are $164.
So essentially what you're asking me to issue is a finding of fact that she complied, but not by the date specified in the notice of violation.
Thank
So
you.
then you want your cost recovery. Okay. All right, does that make sense? So what?
Thrilled.
Let me just ask you before you leave, just if there's, before you leave, ma'am, before you leave, just because there's gonna be a formal order, just so that the record is clear. Any objection to the documents that are on the screen? Okay, so you'll get you'll get an order that says it's an order finding a violation, but what it'll say is that you comply, but not by the time specified in the notice of violation that you received. So all that it means for you going forward is don't get cited for the same code section again, or they can repeat violate you, and they won't have to give you time to comply. So you got 5 years. You're in warning, I guess, for 5 years. So just so you know, I don't expect you'll do it again, but just so you know, okay?
I don't think I'll need another wall.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Beautiful wall.
Alrighty.
Thank you for taking care of that.
In case 2024-015, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file that the town had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the documents in the case file as well as the testimony of respondent and town staff that the respondent was in violation of section 67-51 and Florida Building Code 105.1 for work done without a permit. I'll find that the respondent complied with those sections, but not before the date specified in the notice of violation. So I'll issue an order finding violation, which is essentially a finding of fact. And because there is a violation of those code sections, I'll award the town its administrative costs in the amount of $164 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Last but not least,
Your Honor, this is another citation case. It's case 2024-017. The nature of this case is a dog on the beach. This is a first offense. The respondent is Eric J. Hoekstead, and we have our police department here to testify on behalf of the town.
morning, sir. Your name?
Good morning, my name is Sergeant Gary Roy.
Your first name's Gary?
Gary
Gary, okay. Last name?
Roy, R-O-Y.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so on 7/14 at about 6:51 a.m., I was on beach patrol in the department's ATV, and I observed violations specifically pertaining to animals on the beach. There was a white male identified as Eric Huxtey, I believe is how it's pronounced, along with his wife, and there was a mixed breed medium shade dog on the beach. I made contact with him and explained the violation. He was cited. He signed for the citation. I gave him his options to either pay the fine or appear here, and those instructions were provided on a separate form. And I do not see that gentleman here today.
You do not see him. Is anyone here for Mr. Hoekstead? Seeing none, the respondent is not present for the record. So the $25 has not been paid?
It has not.
Okay. And just let me ask the town attorney, what does the code say? No dogs on the beach, I presume?
No dogs on the beach.
Just wanted to be clear that I understood the code. Okay. And you personally saw the dog, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And it was a dog?
it was a dog.
Okay.
Actually, is it animals or dog?
It's dogs,
Dog.
it's specific to dogs. And they didn't make any statement that it was a service dog. Was it off leash, I'm assuming?
At one point, it was off leash, and then upon my arrival, it went on leash.
But it didn't have any vest on, anything?
It did not have a vest.
Okay. And it looks like the fine amount was $25.
Yes, Your Honor, as a first offense.
So the town is seeking
Our
affirmation
administrative
of
costs of $164.
plus affirm the $25 fine.
Yes.
Okay. Anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor. I mean, Your Honor, so technically, under the citation process, we can actually ask for a fine to be imposed. Give him 30 days to pay off this amount,
Mhm.
and then ask for a fine to be imposed. So I would ask that he be given 30 days to pay off these amounts, and if not, then I would ask for $25 a day.
Okay, so your code allows for a daily fine after that?
Right, because part of the citation process is to require compliance and payment of the fine. And if they don't do either or both, then we can also seek a daily fine to get compliance.
And does that get recorded as a lien against the individual?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And this is, Your Honor, I know in preparation of the orders, if you want to review this, the code section, it's the alternative citation process that's within the community standards provision in the code.
Okay. We don't deal with these a whole lot.
No, we've started using them, for dogs on the beach, because with the first offense being so low, we're seeing some, repeat violators, so now we're trying to
Disincentivize
get-
quite enough.
Yes, exactly, Your Honor,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay. All right, I don't have any issue, doing that. It's, clearly based on the testimony, there's a violation. The fine hasn't been paid, so there's clearly not an intent to comply. So I don't have any issue awarding the daily fine in the event of non-compliance, or non-payment, I guess I should say, for the record. Anything further?
Nothing.
Okay, in case 2024-017, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I've noted for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find, based on the citation, the case file, as well as the testimony of town staff, that the respondent was in violation of 62-28, that the fine amount of $25 has not been paid. So I'll give respondent 30 days to pay the initial fine amount of $25 plus the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $164. And in the event of non-payment of that total, which is $189, I'll assess a fine of $25 per day for each day that the violation continues, and that'll begin on the 31st day from today.
Your Honor, I do need to make a correction. The officer was correct. It's actually animals on the beach. I thought
Thank
it
you.
was specific to dogs, but it's all animals.
So I guess Officer or Sergeant, was it an animal then? Just so we're clear.
It was a mixed breed dog.
Thank you, sir. All right, the record, or the order will reflect an animal rather than a dog.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, anything further for the magistrate?
Your Honor, I believe that's it.
All right, then I will adjourn at 11:22.
We got cupcakes.
I stayed here just for the dog.